pleasure to speak today about Goliath Resources. This has got to be one of the, I'll say, crispest focused exploration plays in the Golden Triangle this coming summer. The work they did last year to uncover this Sherbet discovery, this, I'll call it a vein zone, but it's really a more of a shear zone that's mineralized over broad widths. You can see some of the values and widths here. Is extraordinary. You know, to think that something like this is still discoverable, you know, by boots on the ground in the Golden Triangle is remarkable. But you know, part of that is coming from receding snowpack in certain areas. So this is an exciting discovery that's going to see its first drill program here very shortly. A news release went out this morning. Okay, forward-looking statements. Of course, there's always forward-looking statements. This is on the website. I would encourage people to read it. You can see the people involved here. I am technical advisor. You got Roger, who's the CEO. The team is very good on the ground. One of the things I do checking out a company is I meet with their geologists, meet with the people who are going to be running things. And to save a bit of time here, I'm going to jump to Bill Tornabay, who's the operational manager. He oversees putting the program together. He's been operating in this area for a long time, and he knows how to get stuff done. And that is absolutely critical these days because drills are, you know, their contracts are going quick. It's hard to find stuff, but Bill's managed to line this program up, and it should be a very, very effective program this year. Shares out, very tightly held. It's about 47 million now. You can see there's a few warrants and options. Fully dilute, about 83. Crescat came in. I am an advisor to Crescat. Eric Sprott came in shortly after. So both Eric and Crescat are fairly large shareholders here. Very exciting story to be part of as we watch the market cap hopefully grow considerably on the back of this exploration. You can see that the Gold Digger project is located really at the southern apex of the Golden Triangle. So we're up in BC. This is south of Stewart. Golden Triangle encompasses a large number of you know, world-class or near world-class deposits of a wide variety of types. But you can see in our immediate neighborhood there, we've got some very good neighbors. For instance, Orin Resources. They've got the Homestake Ridge system, which is probably the nearest deposit to the Gold Digger and the Sherbet zone. Dolly Varden is nearby, a little bit different geology, but I will take your attention up to Ascot, north of Stewart. Ascot has the old Premier mine, as well as adjoining grounds. They've kind of consolidated that area, but that old Premier mine is very interesting. It's probably the least known high-grade deposit on planet Earth. It was mined in the perhaps one of the worst gold markets, you know, in the late 1990s, but it was exceptionally high grade. It was a phenomenal mine. It had some early days. It had some very continuous, nice, big, fat, high-grade veins. And in spite of the gold price, it made a lot of money at that time. It's an analog to what we are looking at. So I think we do have some neighbors in this region that kind of forecast what we might have here. All right, this is the Sherbet zone that was discovered last year and really systematically channel sampled during the summer last year. You can see it is very steep terrain. There is snowpack on the north side of that hill. That we're kind of looking, would this be about west northwest, something like that. So we're actually looking kind of down dip of the Sherbet zone. On the south side of the hill, which is the one that's brightly lit there, the Sherbet zone continues all the way down from the tippy top down to the tree line. And then you start getting into scree where there's broken rock that covers it, masks it, and so forth. And then obviously the vegetation kind of covers it as well. But nonetheless, they have been able to find samples, either float samples that have broken off from the zone and slipped down the slope, or even some outcrop way down there at the bottom in the trees that tell us this is a continuous vein or shear zone, like I said, over about a kilometer strike. And remarkably, because of the high relief here, this thing already has a vertical profile of 500 meters. It is really a phenomenal, nice, fat, robust vein system. Okay, here we're looking down on the left-hand side. You see we're looking down on the veins that have been discovered on the property. Now, that Sherbet one is the one that's circled in red. It is dipping at about, call it 45, 50 degrees to the west. So it dips to the left. A lot of the other veins that you see here are actually near vertical. Okay, and in my view, if you think in three dimensions, that Sherbet zone, that big fat sucker, is actually dipping underneath the surface and is probably the feeder for the vertical veins. In other words, the fluids that came up this Sherbet zone then found those vertical fractures in conduits, and they made their way up and formed these somewhat narrower, but in often cases high grade veins, vertical veins. Why is that important? Well, if you think about this as a plumbing system, that's great. That tells us that Sherbet zone, the fluids that came up, they didn't just mineralize that local area where they found this thing in outcrop. It's likely going to extend clear down in the subsurface because all of those vertical veins, if they did indeed tap those same fluids, you should expect continuity of the zone, the Sherbet zone, for a considerable way, perhaps even a kilometer or more down dip, down plunge from the outcrop. That's exciting. Now, you can see over here on the right, Sherbet is part of this gold digger project. One of the things I'm going to bring up is we are doing a BLEG survey over this area this year. So while this is an immediate discovery, we're actually going to do a BLEG, which is a stream sediment survey, over the rest of the property, see if we can't turn up some more discoveries here. This is an early stage project, and I think there's good potential to find even more. But today we're going to focus on this Sherbet discovery. You can see a geologic map on the left. The gentleman who did this unfortunately passed away in a skiing accident. Very young, sharp kids, Spencer Postman. He will be deeply missed. He was an exceptional mapper. It's hard to find young lads like this who can, get out and map, but he did an exceptional job here. What you're seeing is the deposit is hosted by a series of mainly sedimentary rocks, some volcanic or volcaniclastic material, but mainly sedimentary rocks that host a lot of the big deposits in and around the Golden Triangle area. But again, that Sherbet is dipping to the southwest, 45, 50 degrees. What's it dipping towards? Well, I believe it's dipping towards an intrusion. If you look over here on the right-hand side, you'll see there's an intrusive in pink off to the left. So I think that's the source for this thing. Okay, the guys did a great job channel sampling this. There's some highlights here. I would encourage people to go back to the news releases from late last year and read the results. Absolutely phenomenal results over very stout widths. Here you can see some more. You can see the terrain very steep. Those are climbing ropes. Yes, they had to climb, literally scale this thing. They did a great job sampling this thing. The vein is sulfide bearing. It's got a bit of base metal, but the gold and silver are what matter here. They've found, in this case, very, very high-grade float samples that have broken off of this down in that tree line area. And we suspect that the vein is there. It's probably high-grade. Hopefully we hit stuff like this in our drilling. Here's some more samples of the sulfide. It's a mix of iron sulfides as well as base metal sulfides. But the gold and silver are what count. There's silver sulfur salts in here as well as electrum. We know that from some petrography we've done. I think this is going to be a fantastic deposit. It should have a very favorable metallurgy. These tables list a lot of the results. I can't go through them line by line here, but absolutely stupendous numbers. Again, very stout widths of 5, 10, 15 meters of very good gold equivalent grades, 13, 14, up to 15 gram gold equivalent. The Cloud 9 zone is one of those vertical structures. It was found last year. Some really nice high grade, a little bit narrower vein, but again, I think that is feeder system coming off of the Sherbet zone, which would be dipping underneath. So I find that exciting just from the fact that you have leakage up into the Cloud 9 zone from what is likely going to be a very robust Sherbet zone structure that's dipping underneath that whole area. All right, here's a little bit of close up around the Cloud 9 zone, some of the samples. Did a little bit of channel sampling, so they documented the similar grades, are albeit narrower widths. Here's what I really want to drive home. This is, I got a minute left. I'm going to hammer this home. So this 3D model we put together. So when I approached Goliath, we worked with their team to put together a model of the Sherbet zone, how it's dipping, and what we're likely going to see in drilling. You can see our holes, our planned holes in yellow. Those are the ones up along the edge on the right are near surface, easy, we'll call it low hanging fruit, easy pickings. We're going to drill immediately down dip from the channel samples that were collected. High probability we'll hit in those, in my view, but we're also going to do some holes further back. We're going to go up on top of the hill and drill down dip on this system to see if that thing continues at depth. If it does, I would say I'm very confident that it will continue way down into the subsurface because that fluid source came out of the ground and that intrusion off to the west fed this system, and it also produced the leakage features like that Cloud 9 where you can see the vertical arrow there. So this gives you a sense of the scale. If we drill this and we start to see consistent hits here, I think it'll be very easy to see this could be a multi-million ounce gold equivalent system. And with that, I will end my presentation. Thank you very much.
So let's start with Quinton Hennigh and Goliath Resources. There's a couple here for you, Quinton. I'm not sure, these are maybe too forward-looking, maybe. Here's one. It says, in addition to Goliath Resources, you are a major contributor to several companies ranging from early explorers to producers. In your opinion, which company offers, this is probably not a good question. Which company offers the best juxtaposition of risk reward currently? I don't think you can answer that, Quinton.
I'm not a financial advisor, Jay, but here's what I tell people. Here's my answer. Okay. I love doing this stuff. I love these companies. I love these projects that I'm involved with, and I view them like kids. You wouldn't say, "Oh, I like Johnny better than Susie." Okay, that's not how it works. They're all really good stories, and I think they all have a good shot at being significant discoveries. How about that?
Yeah, that's probably a very diplomatic way to answer it, and because it is everything is different, and in your own mind, I'm sure you could answer that, but it wouldn't be fair because who knows? Who knows what Mother Nature holds under the ground? Time will tell. Let's see. Oh, this one you can't answer. I mean, I'm embarrassed, but some of these questions I want to know about. No, we can't answer. Size of. No, this is too forward looking. They're asking for economics, and you're very early stage with Goliath as well. So let's see if there's another one here. Okay, given your extensive experience in the Golden Triangle, what would you estimate as likely resource size of all in and well, all in sustaining capital? I mean, these are too early to answer.
Yeah, here's what I can talk about the size of the target. Okay, that's a fair question.
Right.
And if you look, it's like that slide I showed of the dimensions. Okay, we've traced it for a kilometer along strike. It is very three-dimensional because you have a lot of relief. The mountain goes straight up and down like that. But if you look at the footprint of the like that purple plane that we've drawn into the computer, which is our target, and assume, maybe let's say 8 to 10 meters true width, something like that, you can get a lot of tons. Okay, I can see at least a 2 million ounce target, a 2 million ounce gold equivalent target. I should be very clear there. It is a gold silver deposit. Gold and silver more or less share equally in the value contribution. So I think it's fair to say gold equivalent in this case. And 2 million ounce gold equivalent, I can see it pretty easily. The premier mine, by the way, the mine I discussed, I think it produced a bit over 1 million ounces in that early period in the high grade. Now Ascot's taking it forward, and they've got, I can't remember the resource, but it's significant. It's like 2 or 3 million ounces, I believe, at present. Very high grades. Those grades work in this country.
Yeah, sure. All right, here's one more for you for Goliath, for you, Quinton. Is the grade of the Sherbet mineralization expected to change below down dip as it gets closer to the intrusion?
We don't really have any data yet beyond the channel samples that were done at surface. So, that gives you a sense of what we might expect in the drilling. Conjecture a little bit. What I found intriguing is the vertical structures that tap those fluids and are in turn mineralized. They're actually seeing pretty high grades. So it is conceivable that as you go down dip on the Sherbet, maybe it gets higher grade. It'd be nice to see, but we don't have the data yet.